Well, South Africa has released a draft, and that has to do with raising or building, or in some other climb, establishing a particular holding company which will help oversee the affairs of companies, asset companies like Eskom, Transnet, and the likes. And so, just to give more perspective to this particular discussion, I'm being joined by Phelisa Nkomo, who is an economist. Phelisa, thank you so much for joining us at this particular time.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon to your listeners.
So for those who may not really understand what an holding company is, I'd like you to give us an idea of what it is, the structure, and why the South African government is opting for this particular decision to actually help in administering over companies like Eskom and Transnet and other state-owned enterprises.
Well, the first issue is that the minister is arguing that they want to make it sure that they separate regulation, right, and execution of the business. That's the first thing that's given as an objective. The second one, it's around they want to limit political interference over the state-owned enterprises. You might have known, for instance, that over the years, we've had an issue about several state-owned enterprises in South Africa being highly influenced by by politicians going forward. So, and I think that's what they want to do. The third reason, really, they're arguing is that they want to ensure that they increase professionalization of the state-owned companies and make sure that they get the best skills. And by the way, state-owned enterprises is probably one of the within the public sector regime, the one that have really been attracting good technical skills. And of course, the fourth one, they want to properly manage, assets of government. What is actually not clear in the management of assets, by the way, is the fact that what's going to happen to debt liabilities of these companies, right? Because already most of the companies were able to raise money from the financial markets. Currently, their debt remain a contingent liability of the public sector. So, in essence, it meaning that if companies are not able to pay or honor their debt obligations, actually that debt would actually have to be transferred back into the national treasury. So that's one of the things that is unclear in the bill.
There have been accusations as regards under dealings, corruption, and mismanagement of fund of these state-owned enterprises. How true would you say these allegations are? And are you going to actually give credence if this particular holding company is established that in terms of accountability and transparency, they will be able to deliver?
Well, I think from an accountability perspective, again, it's still unclear, but at the same time, the assumption has always been that when each state-owned enterprises has its own board and has an executive that guides that leads the state-owned enterprises, that's as much as transparency it would be. So obviously, the key issue now with this centralization model, which I think for me, by the way, the centralization model is actually based on the Chinese model. I don't know if you follow how Chinese have actually structured their state-owned enterprises. So all of them are under one umbrella, and then they get managed by one, national state-owned enterprises, which then looks at the balance sheets, the requirements, the financial requirements of the state-owned enterprises, the book, the order book if they're providing any service outside, but also the other one, it's around the capabilities, if it has accurate capabilities. So the key question is that whether we're going to be able to do it. But one of the key things as well that we need to know about, which is still unclear about this bill, is the fact that currently we're standing at 700 state-owned enterprises in South Africa. So you have those that are actually focusing on the economic aspects of South African economy, which would be like Eskom, Transnet, Denel, South African Airways, but also at provincial and municipal level. In the last 15 to 20 years, we've seen actually development of state-owned enterprises that actually looked at like development agencies, right? Which look at the development, social and economic development of those issues. So it will be quite interesting how will this bill, in fact, accommodate that context because it's still unclear. So it's early days. The minister presented it in Parliament on Friday, and obviously, amongst the other things they're going to do is a public participation process. And there's been a very strong feeling amongst the South African public has been that the state-owned enterprises have actually become a leakage into the economy, that consistently they're given funding and they're actually assumed, and through that funding, in essence, it means that they remain in the public balance sheet instead of generating the income for the state so that the state can actually use those revenues to deal with issues of unemployment in South Africa, but also other social and economic issues.
All right, Phelisa, I'm sure we are going to bring this discussion back and have you talk more about it because there are still issues as regards if it should be managed by public office holders or a private sector should come in and take over in terms of the holding company. And there are also issues around if there would be job losses for those who are actually scared that when there's a transition of management or managerial roles, people might lose their jobs. So there are so many sides to this particular issue that we'll still consider some other time on the show. But then Phelisa and Nkomo, of course, you're an economist. Thank you so much for talking to us.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon to the listeners.